Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. We've got a lot of national headlines, a lot going on. Joining us to break some of it down, Republican strategist Matt Mackowiak. Matt, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Chad. Good morning. How are you?
Doing great. Appreciate you joining us today. We've got a lot of national headlines, a lot of political headlines going on. I guess we'll start with the news that Bernie Sanders has officially launched his presidential campaign. I don't think it shocks anyone, but here's my question to you: when looking at all the Democrats who are already running and probably going to run, how does Bernie fit into all of this?
Yeah, it's a great question. He decided to let a number of these upstart candidates get in before he did. And I think some of them have stolen his thunder. I did see that I think it was the Trump campaign put a statement out saying that Bernie had already won the primary. And I think there's some real merit to that. I don't know where he fits. I mean, obviously he starts with pretty high name ID. He starts with, he'll hold some of the support he had last time. I was thinking about the 2020 Democratic primary and Bernie Sanders. It seems to me he may be sort of the Rick Santorum on the Democratic side of 2020. What I mean by that is, if you remember, Santorum ran in 2012 and was the sort of anti-Romney at the end. And I think he, got some of that support at the end because there were some doubts about Romney. Whereas I think, Bernie finished second, not maybe because of his strength, but because of his weaknesses. And I have to wonder if he's going to suffer a similar fate. I just think there are so many choices this time on the Democratic side. If identity matters to you, if age matters to you, if different types of personalities, there's so many choices. It's hard to know how Bernie ultimately where he fits in that. I think he's going to compete to some extent with Elizabeth Warren. From a geographic standpoint, they both are basically next door there to New Hampshire, so that complicates the picture in New Hampshire. I just don't see Bernie ultimately getting very far in this primary, but obviously he wanted to give it another shot.
Well, and I think that, with Bernie Sanders, when he was running with Hillary, there was a difference between the two of them. And now you've got the Democrat Party, which has embraced so much of what Bernie Sanders ran on, is that his ideas are split now. I mean, you've got Kamala Harris, who I know she answered the question yesterday from Fox that she's not a Democrat socialist, but she still has a lot of the ideas that Bernie Sanders had. You brought up Elizabeth Warren. You've got, she's not making any waves at all right now, but you got Tulsi Gabbard out there, who was, part of the Bernie Sanders campaign. You just, Cory Booker. I mean, you just got all these Democrats who share the ideas that Bernie Sanders has, and he's an older white guy. And I just don't know if the Democrat Party right now wants an older white guy, and that would include Joe Biden, right? I mean, there's not just – it just doesn't seem to me like the Democrat Party is wanting an older white dude as their nominee anymore.
No, I think that's right, and it's not just that he's older. He's literally the oldest white guy. I believe he'd be 79 if I'm correct. When he's inaugurated, by far the oldest president, far older than Biden, older than everyone else. So I do wonder if Bernie is thinking, well, there are 5 or 6 or 7 candidates that are going to have money and support, and that reduces the threshold that I need to be at to be a contender, to be a finalist. Yeah. I guess I wouldn't say he cannot be a finalist. I just think at the end of the day, you're right. If you like his ideas, there's a younger, better looking, next generation model that you can choose. And I just think that the Democrats are going to be looking for a fresh face, unless they are convinced that Joe Biden is sufficiently progressive and he's the only one that can take on Trump. Otherwise, I think we're likely to see a Democratic fresh face as the nominee.
Yeah. Let's talk about one of the possible fresh faces, Beto O'Rourke. He's still toying, I guess, with the idea of running. What sense do you get about his future? Is he going to run for this, or is he going to challenge John Cornyn, as it seems Chuck Schumer wants him to do?
Yeah, I think he's going to run for president. I think the rally in El Paso last Monday, encouraged him. He was able to be a national figure again and get the adulation that he craves. I think he feels like this national emergency declaration, puts all these issues right on the front burner issues that he's got personal experience with. I think he's trying to figure out how to scale. You know, he was running kind of a mom and pop campaign last time and let sort of the internet be the jet fuel that helped him achieve escape velocity. This is an entirely different type of campaign. He's not going to be the only Democrat running. He's not running against someone Democrats hate right away. He's going to have to earn the nomination. He's going to have to do that on issues. He's going to have to do that with hard work and with specifics. And he didn't really have to do that to the same extent in the Senate race. So it's an entirely different thing. But I do think he's got some strengths. He's got a huge list, huge ability to raise money. He is a fresh face. He clearly is willing to do the kind of hard work that you have to do. And I think he feels like the issues probably connect pretty well with where he is. So, yeah, I think he's likely to run. He said he'll decide this month. So we've got, the next 2 weeks. It sounds like he's going to make a decision and announce it. He's got a chance to either potentially be the nominee, but I think even more likely to be the vice presidential nominee. I think he checks a lot of boxes for what the Democrats may want at that time.
Yeah. Visiting with Matt Mackowiak. Matt, real quick, back to Bernie Sanders. Ed O'Keefe from CBS News just tweeting this out, that Bernie Sanders, they've confirmed that Bernie Sanders raised more than $1 million already for his 2020 campaign in the first 3.5 hours since his official announcement. What are your is that good? Is that good to raise $1 million in 3.5 hours in 2020?
Yeah, I think he's kind of reminding people, hey, I'm still here. He's got significant lists. He and Elizabeth Sanders, I think, probably have the best and largest lists of anyone on the Democratic side, with the exception of Hillary, obviously, who was the nominee. So, yeah, he's going to be able to raise an enormous amount of money. I think we have to be really candid and honest about that, and that's going to matter. Ultimately, though, this is going to be about positioning. It's going to be about who can get the tickets out of Iowa, the tickets out of New Hampshire, who can survive South Carolina, who can put a really path together that makes them a finalist, and then ultimately, generate the consensus they're going to need to become the Democratic Party's nominee.
Yeah. Visiting with Matt Mackowiak. Matt, what did you think about President Trump signing the spending bill and then also declaring a national emergency?
Yeah, I wish that the emergency declaration were not necessary. I do think it's necessary. I do think there's a crisis on the border. We've already had, in the first 4 months of this year, we've already had basically the same number of apprehensions of unaccompanied minor children and family units that we did all of last year. And so I understand why he did it. I wish his announcement on Friday had been more disciplined. It looked like he may have created a problem for himself with some things he said. We'll see what the courts decide. A lot of people have cited this issue of precedent. Well, listen, if the courts really can't do it, then that's a precedent. And if they really can do it, then he wasn't doing something that was unconstitutional.
Right.
So ultimately, I'll put some stock in whatever the courts decide. It's not going to get resolved anytime soon. He lives to fight another day, and he's able to demonstrate to his base that he's taking bold steps to try to deliver on a major promise he made. I understand why he signed the bill, the increased ICE funding. He got $1.375 billion for the border. After Nancy Pelosi said he'd get zero. There were some bad provisions in there, but it also funds the government through September 30th, and it gives them some more time to get a bigger deal, and I think that's something they can work towards immediately. Yeah,
visiting with Matt Mackowiak. Matt, tell folks about your podcast and also your newsletter.
Yeah, so on the subject of the border, I just interviewed Brandon Darby, who I know you've had on your air, from Breitbart, Texas. He spent 8 years covering the border. My podcast, just talked to him yesterday. You can find that episode of the Mac on Politics podcast in the iTunes Store, on Google Play, on Stitcher, on Spotify, and at maconpoliticspodcast.com. Chad, I know you're a subscriber to the Must Read Texas morning email that 3,000 Texans receive each weekday morning. We take all the top news from around the state, put it in one clean, easy-to-read email, and send it out each morning. You can sign up for a free 1-week trial at mustreadtexas.com.
All right, Matt, as always, appreciate your time. We'll visit with you next week.
Take care.
That's Matt Mackowiak here on the Chad Hasty Show.